Welcome to Fridays for Fundraising. In the next 5 minutes, you're going to learn one step you can take before you leave the office today that can move your fundraising forward for your small nonprofit. Hi, I'm Kelly, founder of From Scratch Fundraising, where we help nonprofit leaders raise more dough without burning anything. Every Friday, I'm here to serve up one bite-sized fundraising assignment that you can tackle in about an hour. Think of it as your weekly recipe for sustainable fundraising success. No overwhelm, just actionable steps that actually move the needle. This month, we're running our year-end campaigns. I really hope that you launched your year-end campaign this week or last week, even better. If you didn't, it's not the absolute end of the world, but you're going to want to go back to my October 3rd episode right now and blitz through all of the homework assignments each week of the podcast. And again, do that right now. But I'm assuming if you're listening to me, you've got your year-end campaign launched and you are ready to go. This week, I'm going to talk to you about how to assess your progress. Next week, I'm going to talk to you about what you can do to make some tweaks and course corrections if you're finding that you're not hitting the goals that we identify this week. Finally, on December 20th, it's going to be my last episode for 2025. I will talk to you about what to do to drive those final donations home on December 31st. Wow, we can see the light at the end. Hopefully it's the light at the end of the tunnel and not a train coming to you. But if you are worried that it's a train, that's what the next few episodes are going to help you prevent. Here is how I track my fundraising goals around year end. First, do you have a campaign goal? What is that goal? Just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use the goal of $20,000, okay? But figure out, what is your goal? What is that make or break number? Is it something based in the budget? Is it based on last year plus a little growth? What is your goal? After you figure out your overall goal, which I hope you already did, but if you haven't, take a minute to do that now. Divide that goal by the number of weeks you're running your campaign. So I'm going to say, again, for simplicity in the math, 4 weeks. I'm going to be running my year-end campaign for 4 weeks, and my goal is $20,000. I'm going to divide that total goal by the number of weeks I'm running my campaign. So if I take $20,000 as my goal, I'm dividing it by 4, right? The math is I'm trying to raise $5,000 per week. So that $5,000 is my weekly target. I'm not fretting about how close I am to that $20,000. I'm looking week by week since Sunday or since Monday, you set where the cutoff is. How close did I get to that $5,000? Now, I want you to figure out what that total should be cumulatively and track against that. So sometimes people will see that goal of $20,000 and absolutely panic, right? But when we realize it's $5,000 a week, it starts to feel a little more doable. And sometimes I even take that weekly target and I divide it in half. And I leave half of the goal for week 1, and I add half of that goal to the target for the last week. So again, if my goal for the overall campaign is $20,000 and I'm running it for 4 weeks, I have a weekly goal of $5,000. But what we know is sometimes campaigns start slow and then grow in momentum. And especially if you're only just now getting started, if you didn't make the most of the Thanksgiving holiday and Giving Tuesday, you might be a little slower on that start. So what I will sometimes do is take that first week's goal of $5,000. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to take 2,500 and leave that as my first week goal. In the second week, I'm trying to raise 5,000. In the third week, I'm trying to raise 5,000. And in the last week, I'm trying to raise 7,500. Because we do know that December 27th to the 31st are kind of the biggest giving days of the year, with December 31st, hands down, blowing all of the other days of the year out of the water, even Giving Tuesday. Sometimes I plan my campaigns like that. Instead of a weekly goal that's week by week, what I want to do is pace it based on a slower start and a bigger, punchier finish. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add each week up. So week 1, we're shooting for $2,500. Week 2, we're shooting for $7,500. Week 3, we're shooting for $12,500. And by the end, we'll have that $20,000. Okay. So that's how we're going to pace ourselves, is by looking at that cumulative target, not where we are against $20,000. Because if you're looking at that right now, you're going to panic. And I don't want you to panic. If you're roughly on pace with your cumulative target, fabulous. If you're not, do not, I repeat, do not make massive changes to your plan. Despite what you might think, making massive changes to your year-end campaign actually suppresses donor giving. If you've got one message, one clear cadence, one way of asking, and then all of a sudden it shifts and they're getting bombarded with emails, donors actually get freaked out, not motivated. So we want to project calm, even if you're worried about that target number. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but don't be tempted to spam your donors. Do not be tempted to use emergency, what I call emergency language, because emergency language only works once, right? That type of messaging that is, if we don't raise $20,000, we're going under. Instead, look at the calendar you have already planned and see if you can add a few emails, not a million, not even 10, just a few more emails. Is that something that's doable for you? A few more social media posts. One of my favorite ways to start driving up donations to a year-end campaign is actually a call campaign to pull that LIBUNT list, the donors who gave last year but haven't given yet in this year, and call them and remind them that you need their support. Not in that urgency kind of way, but in a, hey, we missed you kind of way. Those are some simple things you can work on right now. Join me here next week where I'll dive into everything you can do to course correct gently and in a positive way to amplify your results if your campaign is underperforming. Now, I know you are in the chaos of year-end fundraising right now, but I want you to have something to look forward to in January when you get through it. That's why I am so excited to be giving you a little preview of my January Recipe for Relief workshop, which will be an incredible 2-day workshop to help you build a 2026 fundraising plan that raises more dough without burning you out. We'll meet on January 16th for 2 hours. During those 2 hours, I'll give you step-by-step guidance on how to assess your fundraising program. Then I'll give you 2 weeks to get that done, and we'll meet back on January 30th to share our plans and learn how to manage our plans. And I will teach you all of my tricks to create highly automated but highly engaging stewardship programs, how to create rhythms for your fundraising year so you never get overwhelmed, and all of my best project management and productivity tips. Sign up to be the first to know when the registration goes live by going to fromscratchfundraising.com/2026-relief. And I cannot wait to tell you more about this program. If you are loving these weekly assignments and want the complete recipe for fundraising success, consider joining my Sustain and Thrive program. It's a 12-month program that takes you from setting up your fundraising foundation all the way through donor stewardship, board engagement with fundraising, and expansion strategies like major gifts, peer-to-peer fundraising, and so much more. We break down the monumental task of building a fundraising program into manageable, bite-sized assignments, just like this podcast, but with coaching support, a community of your peers, and unlimited access to all of our templates and trainings. I want you to start out 2026 with the best support team around so you can move your fundraising from chaos to calm. And the best part is the pricing for my program starts at just $25 a month for organizations with budgets under $100,000 a year. We've priced it so even the smallest organizations can join in, because fundraising support shouldn't leave you feeling like a burnt crust. Join us in Sustain and Thrive, where we're putting the fun back into fundraising. Go to fromscratchfundraising.com/apply to join today. All right, quick reminder, your assignment this week is to figure out your fundraising cadence and see how your campaign is measuring up. If you're happy with what you're seeing, awesome, do no more. If you're unhappy or getting a little worried, take a look at your content calendar and see where you could sneak in another email or two, and or the feasibility of adding a call campaign to call the donors who gave last year but haven't given yet this year. That's called a Lybunt list. If you have one of those, easy to pull in your CRM, Lybunt, Lybunt. And then join me next week to hear my best tips for course correcting your campaign. Remember, success isn't guesswork. It's following the recipe. Thanks for being with me here today, and I'll see you next week.
Now go make the world a better place.